Alright, in this video I'm going to be going over what is the difference between software and hardware encryption. Software encryption is keeping data safe using computer software. Hardware encryption is keeping data safe using dedicated hardware devices. So basically with VeraCrypt you are encrypting the data with a software program. With a hardware encryption device you're encrypting the data through a hardware device like a dedicated microprocessor chip that only does AES. So basically, the only difference. So basically, when you're encrypting using a hardware device, all you're doing, all you've done, is create and implement and use a computer microprocessor chip that does the exact same thing that, say, VeraCrypt does, that a software program does. All you're doing is taking, instead of the software doing whatever task, you're taking the implementation of a software program and turning it into a hardware device. That's it. Now, what are the pros of software encryption? No financial costs, like for example VeraCrypt, and it's also easy to update. New encryption methods can easily be added to your software to ensure data is always encrypted using the latest and most secure technology. This is especially important in today's technology-driven society where hackers are constantly trying to find new vulnerabilities in older encryption methods. Cons of software encryption. It consumes computer processing power and slows down computer performance. Needs to be maintained and updated by third parties outside of yourself. Reinstallation, it needs to be reinstalled if the OS changes because software encryption exists in the software on the machine. It is complex. Software like VeraCrypt has a steep learning curve to learn. It can be exploited by hackers, viruses, and malware. And it is less secure than hardware encryption. Pros of hardware encryption. It is more secure than software encryption. It is more secure and safer compared to software encryption because the encryption process is separate from the rest of the machine, making it much harder to break or intercept. It has no effect on system performance as it runs on the hardware, a separate piece of hardware. The encryption happens within a separate processor and there has no effect on the overall system performance. Cons of hardware encryption. Expensive initial investment. The financial cost of setting up a hardware encryption is far more than software encryption. It costs money. Encrypted storage is more expensive than a free software tool. No recovery options. Hardware encryption systems do not include additional recovery options, unlike some software encryption programs. Remains in place regardless of what happens to the software. It will remain in place no matter what happens to the computer system because hardware encryption exists outside the computer hardware. That probably should be a pro. Yeah, sounds like a pro to me. You need to purchase and set up a second hard drive. One has to purchase an additional hard drive along with the hardware encryption device if one wants to expand security because it only covers one drive at a time. Needs a separate processor, usually requires a separate dedicated processor. Resistant to brute force attacks. Okay, that also sounds like a pro. And then it is harder to recover. We've already been over that one. And it is resistant. It is resistant to malware because the encryption is always on. Neither end users nor malware can disable it. So there you go. That is the difference between software encryption and hardware encryption.